Bulldozers tore through my backyard dam at dawn, HOA crew smiling, while my daughter screamed from the porch window. Unpaid fees, Karen announced through a bullhorn. Structure removed. Case closed. She had no idea what she'd just unleashed. I'm Daniel Reyes, 41. A civil engineer, married to Sophia, raising 2 kids in Maple Hollow Estates outside Austin. Maple Hollow sat on old floodplain, and the developer built a retention dam behind my lot decades before I bought. County records listed it as shared drainage infrastructure, though the HOA had quietly reclassified it as my private property. Karen Whitfield became HOA president 2 years ago, obsessed with rules, lawns, and letters stamped with red warning ink. I'd paid every fee on time, kept meticulous records, because engineers, unlike Karen's, trust nothing without documentation. Then an $1,800 special assessment appeared on my statement. For unauthorized water feature maintenance, I never approved. I called the HOA office. The clerk admitted the charge looked like a system glitch, but Karen overruled her instantly. Pay it or face violations, Karen texted me, ignoring my emails, my bank statements, my proof of full payment. I requested a hearing. Karen scheduled it for a date she then canceled twice, calling me difficult in board minutes. 2 weeks later, a bright orange notice appeared on my dam. Demolition ordered. Non-compliant structure. Unpaid dues. I drove straight to the county office. Dam blueprints in hand, proving it predated my ownership by 30 years. The clerk said the HOA needed a permit to touch it. Karen apparently never filed one. I emailed Karen the permit requirement. CSNG the whole board, hoping reason would finally land. She replied with one line, HOA authority supersedes county red tape. Demolition proceeds Thursday. Neighbors started messaging me privately, saying Karen had bullied 3 other families over invented violations that year. One neighbor, Priya, told me Karen once fined her for unauthorized birdhouse color, then reversed it after Priya lawyered up. I hired an attorney, Marcus Chin, who sent Karen a cease and desist within hours of reviewing my documents. Karen forwarded it to the board with the caption, Reyes threatening us now, twisting my defense into an attack. Thursday morning, an unlicensed contractor's truck rolled up anyway, chains and excavators ready before sunrise. I stood in front of the dam, phone recording, begging them to wait for the court injunction Marcus had filed. Karen arrived in her Lexus, sunglasses on, waving papers she claimed were board-approved emergency authorization. The contractor hesitated, but Karen promised to cover any liability personally, so he started the excavator anyway. Within 20 minutes, decades of packed earth and stone gave way, water rushing downhill toward the cul-de-sac. My daughter cried watching years of our backyard koi pond drain into a muddy, cracking gash in the yard. Karen filmed herself smiling beside the wreckage, posting Rules Matter to the neighborhood Facebook group within the hour. I filed the injunction paperwork Marcus had rushed, but the judge said damage was already done. Hearing set later. That night, groundwater seeped visibly across 3 neighboring lawns, pooling in low spots that had always stayed dry before. For a few days, nothing happened publicly. Karen declared victory, calling it the fastest violation resolution in HOA history. Sophia begged me to drop it, worried about legal costs, but I kept photographing every new wet patch appearing. Marcus quietly subpoenaed the original developer's engineering survey, the one Karen never bothered reading before ordering demolition. I noticed hairline cracks forming along my neighbor's driveway, right where old drainage maps marked underground water channels. Within a week, 3 houses reported sinking porches, doors that no longer closed, and floors tilting almost imperceptibly. Karen dismissed it as old pipes, refusing to connect it to the dam she'd ordered destroyed days earlier. The Hendersons' pool cracked overnight, draining into a growing sinkhole that swallowed half their patio furniture. I brought the original blueprints to an emergency meeting, showing the dam had regulated groundwater pressure for the whole block. Karen interrupted me twice, insisting correlation isn't causation, though her own basement had started smelling of mildew. A geotechnical engineer I hired confirmed it. Without the dam, the water table was destabilizing the entire subdivision's soil. I posted his report publicly. Karen accused me of fear-mongering to dodge my HOA obligations. Neighbors who'd mocked me for overreacting suddenly wanted copies of that report for their own insurance claims. The county sent inspectors after multiple 911 calls about shifting foundations across Maple Hollow estates. Inspectors confirmed unauthorized demolition of a county-classified drainage structure, citing the HOA, not me, for violations. Karen's insurance adjuster arrived, then quietly left after learning no permit existed for the demolition work. Personal liability, Marcus explained to me, because Karen promised to cover it herself, on camera, in writing. I discovered Karen's own house sat on the lowest lot in the neighborhood, directly downstream from my old dam. Her manicured lawn had already grown spongy, her foundation showing the same telltale cracks as the Hendersons. Priya sent me security footage of Karen ordering the contractor to just get it done, dated before any real vote. That footage proved the emergency board authorization Karen waved around never actually existed as a real document. I forwarded everything to Marcus, the county, and every homeowner still willing to read past Karen's Facebook denials. The HOA called an emergency town hall, expecting to control the narrative one more time. As always, 40 homeowners packed the clubhouse, phones out, recording, no longer trusting a single word from the podium. Karen opened with prepared remarks about misinformation, but her voice cracked when someone mentioned her sinking basement. I stood up holding the developer's original survey, the geotechnical report, and Priya's damning security footage. "You demolished county infrastructure without a permit," I said, "and your own house proves exactly what it protected." Gasps rippled through the room as I passed copies of the footage to nearby homeowners' phones. Karen tried interrupting, claiming the footage was doctored, but the timestamp matched county demolition records perfectly. The board treasurer, visibly shaken, admitted the special assessment against me had indeed been a billing error, never fixed. "So you find an innocent man, ignored county law, and now the whole street is sinking?" a neighbor shouted. Karen's composure cracked completely, insisting she'd only followed procedure, though no such procedure had ever existed. I revealed the emails where Karen personally promised to cover all liability for the demolition, in writing. Marcus stood and announced he was filing a class action suit on behalf of every affected homeowner. Immediately, the county inspector, present at Karen's own request, confirmed the HOA faced fines for the unpermitted destruction. Someone shouted that Karen's basement had flooded overnight, water seeping through cracks exactly where I'd predicted. Karen's face went pale. She'd been so focused on punishing me, she never checked her own foundation. "Emergency evacuation," the inspector announced, ordering Karen's household and 2 others out for structural safety assessment. I watched Karen storm outside just as her own porch step audibly cracked beneath her designer heels. Neighbors who'd once sided with Karen out of fear now openly filmed her house sinking on livestream. The HOA's insurer formally denied coverage, citing unauthorized demolition and Karen's personal written liability promise. Board members scrambled to distance themselves, one resigning live during the meeting, citing irreconcilable negligence. Karen demanded I fix this immediately with my engineering knowledge, as if I owed her anything now. I calmly told her the fix required permits, funding, and honesty, 3 things she'd never offered me. The county froze all HOA demolition authority pending investigation, effectively stripping Karen of her remaining power. Within a month, Karen was voted out unanimously, facing a personal lawsuit for the sinking damage citywide. The class action settled for full dam reconstruction, funded by Karen's insurance and HOA reserves combined. Watching engineers rebuild my dam under my own supervision, I finally exhaled, vindicated, whole, and free of Karen.